All right, so we are starting, and this is Mothers Illuminated, where we help light the pathway through motherhood. I'm your host, Michelle McCartney, here at the Co-work of Londonderry. The Co-work of Londonderry is a great location. It has a podcast room that I'm able to rent for a very reasonable price. They also have lots of great office space, conference rooms, workshops for small business owners, and lots of other great benefits along with their membership. If you're a small business, freelancer, entrepreneur, or a startup who needs a space to work but can't do it at home, definitely check out the Co-work of Londonderry at londonderry.cowork.com, and Co-work is spelled C-O-W-E-R-C. Chris Pastrana owns the place, and he's a great guy. It's a great place to look for, especially if you're, a mom who has a bunch of small children at home and you need a place to get away to go work. So for today's show, I'm joined by Jocelyn at Elated Canine. So how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So I think we wanted to start off a little bit with some of your background, what got you into dog training. And of course, you are a mother, so you can talk about, your kids and kind of how that has influenced you in the direction that you went.
Oh, so this is a fun one. So prior to children, I was actually a school teacher. 11 years of teaching in special ed, and that was its own whirlwind. I had children. We had a dog of our own. I actually got Chansey a month before I found out I was pregnant with Peyton. And he was at the shelter for 11 months. He was a New York City street dog prior to that. So we dealt with a lot of allergies when he came up here because the things that he's allergic to are not in New York, apparently. So he then developed a lot of behaviors because he was in the shelter for 11 months. So we ended up running through 3 different trainers trying to learn how to help this dog. And I found a love of just helping the dogs through him. And because I was a teacher, I had my summers off. So I spent my summers at the shelter. SARL, Salem Animal Rescue League in Salem, New Hampshire. They have a nice open space, lots of places for the dogs to walk. So I would spend 3 hours at a time in the summertime just walking dogs. And that's actually how I met Chansey, and I met a few other dogs there. And there was a dog trainer named Bobby Joe there, and she just kind of took me under her wing, and I learned a whole bunch of stuff from her, and then I started practicing with her. And then my second daughter was born. Cassidy was 9 weeks early. She was 3 pounds, 10 ounces, this teeny tiny little premature thing. She was in the NICU for 61 days, and my teaching career ended abruptly. I was on bed rest for 2 months, hospital bed rest for 2 months, in the NICU for 2 months. 6 months out of a 10-month school year, they didn't want me back. I was gone for 6 months. So they decided that they didn't want to renew my contract because I had spent so much of the year out. And I was found with a brand new baby, a giant hospital bill, and no future. Didn't really know what to do.
Yeah.
So I spent 2 years in direct sales, just trying to make money, just trying to keep the bills paid, and then decided I wanted to take some time and learn what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So everything that I had done with all the previous trainers just kind of floated to the surface one day, and you have those moments of like, what should I do? I don't really know what it is. And a friend of mine told me to meditate on it, and so I did, and dog training just popped up, and I said, okay, this is it. I need to give this a shot. So I went back to the shelters, became an adoption counselor, and started doing training there with the dogs that were in the shelter, and remembered everything that I had been taught. So went back to basic stuff, then started learning some more tricky stuff, working with some dogs that have some more aggression. Ended up finding my second dog, Zuko. We adopted him. Chansey had passed away about a year prior. He ended up with a brain tumor, so we ended up learning a lot of medical stuff from him. And and then Zuko. And you've got this high energy, crazy pit bull, just lots of fun. I'm talking crazy energy.
Yeah.
Zoom in. And so we decided to put him through training, and I learned a lot through that trainer and just kind of put all the pieces together. And then I decided to start looking for like dog training apprentice type of jobs. I found a job in Brentwood, New Hampshire, and I just sort of learned hands-on. They threw me into hosting puppy classes and basic obedience, and it just kind of tumbled from there. Most dog trainers learn hands-on. There really is there's no good schooling. There's a couple of online courses that you can take, but they're really not very good quality. The only other way to really learn other than hands-on is to go and do apprenticeships at some of the bigger named trainers, which I ended up doing down the line. But in the beginning, I needed to get my feet wet. I needed to learn what other people were teaching, and I was just, I don't know, I was obsessed with it.
Yeah.
After teaching, you have to think, like, the psychology of dogs and children are pretty identical. When you're talking about what dogs' cognition ability is, they're very much like toddlers. So if you're talking about what the dog truly understands, you can relate it a lot to what children understand. So owners oftentimes will talk about their children and how they see certain things in their kids and their dogs, and it just makes perfect sense. And most of the people that I train that have dogs and children, they get what I'm talking about because it just correlates. They just go together. So my 11 years of teaching experience, my 5 years of college with teaching, it all goes into this. It all works. And then from that facility that I worked at, I had a few rounds of classes that I really enjoyed. And then from there, I decided to open up my own business. And I didn't like the way that man ran his business. So I decided to try things on my own. Started as a dog walker, then did boarding, then started taking a little bit of training on my own. Did an apprenticeship in New York City. Blake Rodriguez at Dream Come True Canine is one of the best in the industry. And I had done a couple of seminars, like a 3-day learning thing with other trainers. And I decided to do a 12-day learning experience with Blake Rodriguez. And literally everything from how to run your business to tax forms to how to do this, how to work with aggressive dogs, how to work with sweet dogs, everything. I didn't miss a single thing.
Yeah.
That man taught me how to run his business, which was fantastic. And then I went and got my certification through IACP, and I went to probably 6 seminars that year, all learning. And then it just picked up from there. And I've been busy. Even through the pandemic, even through the shutdowns, I've been busy. Because I've found different ways to provide information for owners and clients. Done some online courses. Did some Zoom video training. Done group classes where we've done immensely spaced out. And then people just got comfortable again. And now I'm back in homes, and we've transitioned to doing so many different things. And now I have 4 employees that work for me. And it's a busy business. I'm working 7 days a week.
Wow.
Very rare for me to get a full day off.
Yeah.
Today wasn't really much of a day. I have boarders at my house, and then I did a pack walk this morning. So a couple of hours here or there work, but it's still not really a day off.
Yeah.
So
now, how do you find the balance between, because you have children, you have 2 children.
I do.
So you said you're very busy. 7 days a week. Now, I know a lot of it's at your house with boarding and stuff like that. But how do you find a good balance that way you can still be there for your children? And are your children doing, because we're still kind of in the COVID thing, are they still doing remote learning? And how has that been while trying
My
to do
kids
this?
are full homeschooled. So add that to my plate too. Being a teacher for 11 years, I totally get how to teach kids. So it just came naturally. And I decided I was going to hire a few people to help out with the dogs that were at my house. And the time that they are at my house, I'm able to spend that time with my children. We're very routined. Kids get up, we do a little bit of schoolwork, and then the independent things that they can do on their own while I'm outside with the dogs, they do those. I do rounds of training and rounds of daycare. So I do an hour with the training dogs, then I do an hour of daycare, and in those 2 hours, my kids are doing schoolwork. Taking breaks every half hour. I'm, communicating through the windows. Hey, by the way, it's time for a break. Keeping everything scheduled with Alexa as well. Alexa's a cool thing, let me tell you. Being able to say, hey, Alexa, set an alarm.
Yeah.
For those moms with kids that are on that are homeschooled and remote learning, hey, Alexa, set an alarm for 11:15 is a really cool thing.
Yeah.
And then, we just go back and forth between daycare dogs, training dogs, the kids, and then hubby gets home at 3 o'clock and everything shuts down. So,
yeah.
And then I go to people's houses and do private training at night until sometimes 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
I'm up at 7 a.m. and usually in bed by 11, but sometimes I have boarding dogs at the house, and I'm with them until 11 o'clock. Last night I decided to stay up until 1 watching TV, and I had the boarding dogs at the house snuggling with me on the couch.
Yeah. You gotta have those self-care moments, right? Where it's just, okay, I've worked all day, I've taken care of kids all day, now I'm just gonna, even if I'm sacrificing sleep, get those couple hours of some TV time.
Listen, I mean, you make choices. Some people, self-care is taking a bath.
Yeah.
Other people, it's sitting down watching, I don't know, filth on TV.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's nice to escape reality. Mm-hmm. Even on TV shows, you see people like, pandemic, and you see it every store you go into. You're you're living it in your job. It's nice to escape reality and just go into another world for a couple of hours.
Yeah. And I'd even like to add that even before pandemic, it was nice to escape reality occasionally.
So right. Because let me tell you, moms and kids and dogs and husband and household, and it's busy. It's just busy.
So what would you say, as a dog trainer, and you're looking at these families and they come to you and say, hey, I need training for my dogs, what do you see as the biggest issue that comes up?
My dog is too energetic and I can't get them to stop being a pest. I mean, most of the time it's little things that add up to so big things because it compounds. So you've got a young dog. Most common thing I'm seeing recently is COVID puppies. People getting a small dog, when they're home. Let me tell you, being home with your dog 24 hours a day, you definitely recognize their behavior.
Yeah.
When you're at work all day long and your dog is crated or at daycare and you come home and you only spend 4 or 5 hours with them before bedtime, it's kind of manageable. But when you're spending 24 hours with them, people learn real fast what they like and what they don't like about their dogs. And that's when they call trainers because, my God, they can't deal with it because they've got their kids and they've got their household and So I would have to say the majority of the time it's just an overwhelming sense of I don't know what to do to help my dog because they're nuts is what I'm getting a lot of. A lot of over-adrenalized puppies that can't shut down, don't know how to stop. Some that are being a little overzealous with their mouth, being a little rougher than they should be. And unfortunately, moms and dads are stressed to the nines, and so rules kind of go out the window for puppies because they're constantly putting rules on their kids. So there's no nap times for the dogs, which, I mean, dogs are just like children. They need naps. Yeah. It's bizarre how much they need to sleep. Young dogs under a year need to sleep 18 to 20 hours a day.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's something that's so bizarre to me because I've had dogs. We have a dog, which
Yeah.
and we've had dogs growing up as well, and I can't remember them really having like a nap time. Like my daughter, she's 2. She has her nap time because oh my goodness, if she doesn't, the place is like a tornado. But I guess it's kind of the same way with dogs. If they don't get their sleep, they're gonna end up making a tornado of a mess.
Yeah, and it's often not a physical mess. It's often an emotional mess. Jumping, biting, screaming, fighting, ripping things up. 90% of the time when you guys get behavior out of a young dog, it's because they're overtired and underworked or underexercised. Dogs have a requirement, a mental requirement and a physical requirement, and most people walk their dog thinking that that's exercise, and it's not. Exercise is running your dog. Exercise is playing ball with your dog, playing tug with your dog, making them search for things. A walk is more socialization. They're getting socialized with the world. And unfortunately, the thought process for, I'd say 90% of owners is, okay, let's take them for a 15-minute walk and that'll be enough for them. Well, when you have a dog that, this is the most common one that I hear, oh, we have a husky. So we're gonna walk him for 15 minutes and that should be enough. Let's talk about breeds for a moment.
Yeah.
Huskies are made to mush. If you are not helping your husky mush, you're not helping them. You're going to get a dog that is destructive, that is a bitey little beast, something that is ripping holes in your siding of your house to get out of your house. I mean, I've seen some severe behaviors out of dogs because they just aren't getting what they need. And that half that stems back to nap time. The other half stems back to exercise and mental exertion. So it's a lot of people that aren't doing what they need because they're either exhausted or they don't know what they're supposed to be giving. I find that often. Like, people don't research their breeds. People don't look and see what is this dog made to do, and how are they supposed to exercise and how are they supposed to live. So they don't recognize what they're supposed to be giving.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, and I think this is the perfect transition into talking about breeds. So when you're looking at a family, a lot of them have small children, or maybe it's a family who hikes a lot, or every family is different and they have different lifestyles and dynamics. But what would you find are, I guess, your favorite breeds or the best breeds that you find for families, and what are some breeds that people can avoid?
It's a hard one because it kind of depends on the family. I mean, if you're talking about a quiet home, you want a quiet dog. You don't want a dog that's going to need a 6-hour exercise requirement. The average family dog, I mean, golden retrievers are wonderful. Beagles are wonderful. Labs are wonderful. Very high energy. Very, very high energy. And half the time when their energy requirements are not expelled, they get fat because they have no way of expelling that extra energy. So they eat and they sit. And there's certain breeds, I'm going to go off on a tangent for a moment. There's certain breeds that have an extra genetic strain that makes them overeat. So a lot of people free feed their dog. The dog's going to eat until they're like gorging, until they're so sick. Anyways, that's a tangent. Family dogs, I mean, your average family dog, most people will pick like a golden or a lab. I love pit bulls. I honestly, I'm a big pitty. I mean, I even have a pit bull on my logo. I'm a big pit bull fan. I've had 3 pit bulls myself, and they're fantastic family dogs. You have to find one that matches your energy, your speed, that is obviously kid-friendly. If you're going to the shelters, you obviously need to research what the dog is like. They do temperament testing at every single shelter to find out whether or not they're kid-friendly, dog-friendly, cat-friendly. So obviously you want to get into the breed that makes the most sense for your living situation. The AKC has a test that you can take online to find out what types of breeds might work for you. I will put this blanket statement out there. If you are not a working dog family, if you are not a Schutzhund or bite sport type of family, do not get a Belgian Malinois. Just don't do it. They call them Maligators for a reason. Coming out of the womb, your dog will bite everything.
Really?
Everything. Sweaters, shoes, faces, hair.
So
Mouths.
What are those dogs bred for? I mean, if they're got that kind of a temperament.
Working. They're police dogs. They
Gotcha.
are made to bite and hold, and they are most fulfilled when they are biting a sleeve or a pant leg, and that's what makes them happy. I'm not exaggerating at all. There's videos of people going up to a puppy pen of like 10-week-old I call them alligator puppies, and reaching in to say hi and pulling their arm out, and there's 7 dogs hanging from their sleeve.
Oh my goodness.
There's an awesome video of a guy who has a bite suit on, and he goes down and he pets a group of puppies, and he lifts his arms up, and he has 6 puppies hanging off his arms. And he stands there for a good 3 minutes, and those puppies are still hanging on.
Oh my gosh.
So if you're talking about a group of dogs that are made to bite, you don't want to bring them into your home.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they can't, not that they're not reliable, not that they can't not bite. Mm-hmm. There are some breeders that will do family pet. So there's two different sides of breeding. There's pet family dogs, and then there's working dogs. There are some breeders. There's a breeder in Florida. Oatvisha is one of the breeds. One of the breeders. He breeds family Malinois. So there are some out there, but they're very rare. And they're still extremely high energy. And when I say extremely high energy, this is the dog that you're going to be running or exercising for 5 to 6 hours a day.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. They are working dogs. German Shepherds are a working line dog. There are some family German Shepherds, but the issue that I find with a dog like a German Shepherd is very much like a Belgian Malinois. And a Husky. When you get one of these working breeds, what you're doing is you're putting them in a home. They don't have a job. The original creation of a German Shepherd was to herd animals out on a farm for hours and hours and hours at a time. So when you expect a German Shepherd to stay within your home and not run in a field or run around your yard for hours and hours and hours, they do not get their exercise requirement. When they're not out there smelling and using their brain in a way that helps them expel mental energy, you get a dog that is very neurotic and very high energy and very whiny. God, all you hear is...
Yeah.
There's a group of German Shepherds that a family in southern New Hampshire I trained a couple years ago. I walked in the door. They wanted help with just walking. And I walked in the door and I said... This is going to be a heck of a lot more expensive than just a walk.
Yeah.
You need a lot of help. Took us a while. Both dogs are in great spaces now, but my Lord, there's nothing, people don't do anything with their dog. You know, even if they think they're exercising their dog, they may not be exercising them in a way that fulfills them. So I explain it to clients like this. The pandemic is a perfect example. When the pandemic happened and people weren't allowed to do their things that they always loved doing. I loved camping. I absolutely love to camp. It makes me just feel so calm and so relaxed. When they, in the beginning of the summer, said that we couldn't camp, it was like torture to me. If you were to think of something that makes you feel whole, that is not playing with your children or teaching them anything or your job, what is it that you enjoy doing that makes you feel good?
I know.
I
got young children. I don't know.
A lot of people will say things like shopping. That's like their escape.
Yeah.
Or taking a bath. Or going to the gym and exercising. I mean, these are kind of the norm. Pandemic took away most of those things. I mean, you can't take away a bath, but they can take away shopping, going out and going to the store.
And eating out and, shopping has become a lot more challenging now. And to me, I think the biggest thing is just eating out. Like, I like going out to restaurants, and I like being able to do that thing, and not being able to do that's been difficult.
So I explain it like this. Pandemic has taken it. It's illegal now to do that.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel?
Very frustrated.
Mm-hmm. So these dogs don't know what they're allowed to feel. They don't know what they're allowed to do. And so they make choices. They say, okay, I'm really, really high energy right now. I need to find a way to make myself feel better. Mm-hmm. So then they dig on the carpet. They bite the blankets. They rip apart shoes. They find things to keep themselves busy. And people get mad at them for those things because they don't know why the dog is doing it. They just want them to stop. They don't care what the purpose of that is. Dogs are made for 5 things: chasing, stalking, destruction, celebration, and fight. And when I say fight, I don't mean dog fight. I mean confrontation, play, push, pull, smack, bite, confrontation, fighting, playing. Dogs are made for those 5 things. If they don't get those 5 things, you're not helping them be fulfilled. Mm-hmm. So people don't realize when a dog that's used to chasing and stalking for 10 hours a day, like a German Shepherd, and they stick them in the home, in a small home with nothing else to do, how are they going to fulfill themselves?
Yeah.
So you get a lot of destruction. You get a lot of bad behavior, a lot of whining, a lot of peeing in the house, and making bad choices.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make any sense to have a dog that is just going to sit there.
Yeah. And it's funny because I know at the beginning of this you said that dogs are a lot like children. And that's so hilarious to me because I totally see that. It's like when you have small children, a lot of the times, especially toddlers, so I have a 2-year-old at home. So a lot of times what I'm noticing is toddlers, they do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. And if you try to sit there and say, no, we're going to do this instead, it's like, oh my gosh, why would you make me do that? And I'm like, and I see that too, because lately I've been having to, I guess, kind of reassess that. And I'm like, well, am I looking more at my experience as a mom, or am I looking at building my child's experience as a child? And what can I do to help them feel fulfilled, as a child, because this is their only childhood. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's the same way with dogs, where it's like you have a dog and it's like, am I looking at it as my experience as a dog owner, having this dog that's just sitting there for me, 24 hours a day, or am I looking at what's going to make this dog feel fulfilled and doing what I can do to help them?
Yeah. Well, and the other side of that is exercise. Like most people want to play fetch with your dog, because that's the easy route. Okay, it's easy to grab a ball and play fetch. Sorry to tell you, there's some dogs that don't like to play fetch.
Yeah,
I've had a few owners that say to me, "Well, my dog's not playing fetch. I need you to teach me how to play fetch." I'm like, okay, let's go over dog psychology and dog understanding here for a minute. So your dog has no interest in picking up a ball and bringing it back to you.
Yeah.
They don't have any interest in that. So let's talk about the things that they do have interest in doing.
Yeah.
And these are the 5 things that your dog likes to do. Let's investigate them. Let's wrestle with them. See if that makes them happy. Let's chase them. See if that makes them happy. Let them chase us. See if that makes them happy.
Yeah.
When you see a group of dogs playing together, almost always you'll see them investigating all 5 aspects of play. Period. End of statement. They don't do that with humans because humans don't know how to play with dogs.
Yeah.
So they don't, they feel silly. Doing this to a dog. That's weird to some people. Why would you do that? And dogs love it. They think it's hysterical.
Yeah.
Some dogs, no interest in picking up a ball.
Yeah.
So you have to find something that makes your dog happy, just like children. I mean, my 2 kids love to sing and dance. Absolutely love it. Do I love to sing and dance? With them, yeah, but on my own? Yeah, really. So the things that I want them to do, they're not really that interested in.
Yeah.
I would love for my kids to take art classes. I was huge into arts. Peyton likes to draw. She wants nothing to do with art classes.
Yeah.
I was an architecture major in college prior to teaching. She wants nothing to do with designing.
Yeah.
That's not her thing. So you have to find something that makes your kids happy and something that makes your dogs happy, it's not always going to be what makes you happy. So you have to get into their world. And it's funny how you accumulated your children, your daughter's age and understanding about dogs, because dogs, here's a fun fact for you. The average dog, cognition-wise, like their brain ability is about a 3-year-old toddler.
Really?
Yep.
That's amazing.
A primitive breed, like a German Shepherd, a Husky, a Malamute, Belgian Malinois, you're talking about the cognitive ability of a 5-year-old.
Wow.
They're pretty dang smart. So
Wow.
when you take a breed like that and you dumb them down and you give them nothing to do, that's like taking a 5-year-old child and saying, entertain yourself all day for the next week.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to sit in front of a tablet and dumb themselves down. Or they're going to destroy your house because they don't know what else to do. You know?
Yeah.
And they're going to get mad because you're not paying attention to them.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And I'll say, so one of the, I guess, kind of a working breed that I see some parents kind of trying to go towards, and not necessarily a specific breed, but I do see some parents saying, okay, I want a good family pet, but someone who's also, a good protector of the house. So for somebody who is looking for that type of a dog, is there any specific breeds you might recommend?
I throw in a pity.
Yeah.
I do. They're scary as hell when it comes to the sound of their bark, and they're scary looking, but my God, they're giant couch potatoes.
Yeah.
They're the biggest sweethearts. And I find like they're more variable when it comes to exercise and things. But you also have to understand the abilities of this dog. I mean, they were created to bait bulls. They were created to fight large animals. So you have to understand the power behind them. So if you understand it and you're aware of it and you know that the possibility of them having a reaction to something is there, you're prepared. You're aware of what's going on. But inside your home, they're typically the best dogs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You have to kind of take one side or the other. I mean, do you want your dog to look perfect to other people, or do you want them to be perfect in your home? I mean, the average dog doesn't really need a long walk in a park where there's 75 other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would much rather I have a Doberman and I have a Pit Bull right now. My Doberman's loud. She's got a loud bark. She never would hurt anybody, but man, does she have a loud bark. That's just the Doberman.
Yeah.
And it's off-putting to some people, to understand what the breed can look like to others. You obviously have to get over that part. But there's a big following of pit bulls now. I mean, you hear people talking all the time about pibbles and my pity. They've got all these nicknames for them. But if you're aware of what the breed was created for, you understand the power they harness. They're fantastic animals. The average person right now is looking for a doodle. Now I will tell you, these are some of my least favorite breeds.
Yeah.
The person who created a doodle originally intended for the dog to have hypoallergenic qualities. The only reason why it might pertain to hypoallergenic qualities is because of the tight curl of a poodle. But there are some doodles that have longer, straighter fur. And sorry to tell you, they still have dander.
Yeah.
And they still have saliva. Now, 80% of people who are allergic to dogs are allergic to a dog's saliva, not their dander.
I didn't know that.
So I always recommend to people, if you're going to go get a dog, instead of picking something for their fur, let them kiss you and see if your skin burns.
Oh.
I'm allergic to my Doberman. She licks my face, and for 10 to 15 minutes, my face burns all in through here.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm allergic to cats as well, and I have 2 cats.
Yeah.
You just deal with the things,
Yeah.
For severe allergies, You want to get something like a Yorkie or a mini poodle or a standard poodle, something that has more of hair-like fur, or something that has next to no fur. There's actually breeds out there. I can never say it right, but it's something like a Xiocinti or something like that. It's a Mexican hairless dog.
Yeah.
Get one of them.
Yeah.
One of those would make more sense to a child that has severe allergies than a doodle.
Yeah.
What you're going to get with a doodle is extremely high energy, extremely very smart, and rude.
Oh, no.
Rude. I have probably 10 doodle clients.
Wow.
They're all rude. All of them. All rude. Yep.
So now, when you say rude, what do you mean exactly? They just don't listen? They're stubborn? What is it about them that...
They have attitude. Just like a teenager. So poodles are more of a primitive breed. So you've got a dog that is extremely smart and very aloof and very independent. So you add that to the higher energy of a lab, and you put those together. And you've got naughtiness of a lab. Labs are very, very naughty. They're fun. They're fresh. They're naughty. They're high energy.
Yeah.
And then you add in poodle. That's incredibly smart, very aloof, very independent, and almost snooty.
Yeah.
Like, they almost have this air about them, like, I'm too good for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, friend, I don't want to play today. You put those together, and you don't have a great mix. Now, some pet parents are going to get mad at me for that, but the person who created the doodle, I will tell you this right now, he rescinded his place and said, it's not a good mix. And then the doodle mix just went out the wind, like everywhere. Everybody had to have a doodle. And there are hundreds of breeders now across the United States for doodles. There's now sheepdog doodles. There's even a double doodle, which I never heard of until recently, which is a doodle and a doodle mixing together. So they take a labradoodle and mix with a golden doodle, or a labradoodle and a labradoodle, and they put them together. So then you're doubling the energy. And
oh my gosh.
So sorry to say, we're moving into the mutt realm.
Yes.
So recently I heard of a pit bull poodle mix, a pitoodle. There was also a Rottweiler poodle mix.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that would want that, but okay.
A ratoodle.
A ratoodle, sure. Why would you want to take a gigantic, fierce, very powerful, almost not feeling pain breed and mix them with an aloof, independent, cocky type of dog? Why would you want to put them together? That's bad. Bad news. They're also mixing things like Belgian Malinois and pit bulls.
Yeah.
They're going out of control with the breeding.
So when you talk about, you were just talking a little bit about, the Rottweilers, and obviously, I think we can all say you love pit bulls, which is amazing. But there's obviously a little bit of a stigma around some of these bully breeds. So I know, like, Rottweiler's one of them.
Yeah.
German Shepherd's one of them. Or at least was back in, like, the 90s.
Yep.
And, now we got the pit bull is the big one, but I think a lot of people are getting over that.
Yep.
So what's kind of your take on some of the bully breeds? Is it actually, are they accurate perceptions of these types of dogs? And what are things where, if you decided to get one of those dogs, is there extra steps you have to take to make sure that they don't, kind of go down an aggressive route, or?
So it's sort of the same with all breeds. When it comes to, like, taking the steps to protect them and make sure that you're protecting others from them. Socialize, but don't over-socialize. You want your dog to learn how to be around things, but not always go smell and touch and taste things. When dogs are young, we have this thought process of We want them to smell and touch everything. We want them to be petted by everyone. We want every dog to come up and greet them because we want them to be social. Sadly, that causes asocial behavior. What that causes is behavior that the dogs don't like other dogs. A lot of people will throw a puppy into, say, a doggy daycare or a dog park because they think that's a way to socialize your dog. You're bringing a dog, a young, impressionable dog, into a group of dogs that have no social skills. Most dogs in dog parks and doggy daycares are rude. Mm-hmm. They jump all over each other. They smash into each other. They bite each other. They just don't have any control. And the people that are there aren't always paying attention. And I can say that for both doggy daycares and dog parks. Dog parks, you drive by and you see people sitting there playing on their cell phones while dogs are playing. That's a very dangerous situation. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to throw a puppy into that, you can ruin them in one play session. Mm-hmm. Doggy daycares, there's one not too far from me that a client of mine dropped her dogs off. Very, very sweet dogs, very genteel dogs. One of her dogs got attacked by 6 dogs.
Oh my gosh.
6. And when I say puncture wounds all over her body, it was bad. Like bad. Was there a pit bull in the mix of who was biting her? Yes. But there was a lab. There was, I think there was also a poodle. So it's not about one breed or another. They all have their goods, their good sides and their bad sides. Mm-hmm. Every breed has their good side and bad side. When you're talking about a breed like a pit bull or a Rottweiler or a German Shepherd or a Doberman, they've been stigmatized for a reason. They are big, powerful, very strong dogs. And a dog like a pit bull has a pain tolerance unlike any other dog. So you can beat them. Michael Vick stabbed them, for crying out loud. Burned them, hung them up in a tree by their neck. And these dogs still loved him afterwards. Their pain tolerance is unlike any other dog. They can withstand pain higher and longer than any other breed. The reason for that is they were bred to fight bulls. Mm-hmm. So they had to be something that they could get tossed around and beat up and still jump back up and do it again. Mm-hmm. German Shepherds, they're bred to get kicked by cows, to get beat up by horses. They are a sturdy breed. Mm-hmm. Dobermans, same thing. They are just made for speed and power. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about these breeds and you want to put them in with a family, I think they're all fantastic breeds. Problem is that people don't recognize their power, and they expect the dog to deal with everything you throw at them. Mm-hmm. So I'm a person that does not love to have other people in my face, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't love people getting in my bubble. I literally have a bubble. If you're in my bubble, I better know you. I better know you really well. Dogs have bubbles. Mm-hmm. Their bubble is this, right here, right in front of their face. Mm-hmm. And people love to get into other dogs' faces that they don't know. And I'm sorry to say, pit bulls have the cutest faces, and people just want to pick up those big jaws and just squish them in their face and kiss them. I'm constantly kissing dogs in their face, and I know it's rude. But for another dog to walk up to a dog and put their face in their face, mm-hmm. it's like game on. They're ready to fight. Mm-hmm. So people don't understand what dogs feel when a person gets in their personal space. So dog body language, when another dog gets in their personal bubble, it's to do one of two things. Either show dominance and tell them that they want to push them over the edge, or to investigate them. And usually when they're investigating them, they're smelling their crotch, they're smelling their rear end, and it ends pretty quickly. It either ends in the dog walks away, or it ends in like a play bow, an offer of play. if it stays where both dogs are face to face, I can almost guarantee it's a fight. So when people are constantly kissing and grabbing dogs' jowls and wanting to love all over them and hugging them and getting all over them and snuggling them, and my God, the things that people do to these poor dogs, especially children, dogs react faster. Okay? They don't know how to expect you, or not expect, they don't know how to tell you that they're bothered by this. What they do is they do small things. They'll lick their lips multiple times. That's a request for space. They'll turn their head and look at you out of the corner of their eye. That's called whale eye. They will flatten their ears against their head. That's a request for space. They'll drop their head to let you know they're uncomfortable. People don't know dog body language, and dogs don't know people language. So it's hard to communicate between the species. So the problem with a breed like a pit bull and a German Shepherd and a Doberman and a Rottweiler is their bite force is 100 times harder than anything else. A Rottweiler has the highest bite per square inch than any other dog. Their mouth is massive, and they hold on. So pit bulls are there's this misnomer that they lock their jaws. They don't lock their jaws. They just hold on for dear life. Belgian Malinois, German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, Dobermans, they can bite and hold for a long period of time. You ever see a dog play tug?
Yeah.
Yeah. They can bite and hold and pull. My God. Imagine that was on a child's face.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage. So if you understand the ability of the dog and you understand dog body language, you could have an amazing relationship with dogs. Problem with families and dogs is most families don't take the time to learn dog body language. And they just expect the dog to withstand everything that you give them.
Yeah.
There's this incredible video that makes me gasp every time I see it because I give it to all of my dog training clients. There's a video of a little kid, maybe a year and a half old, at most 2 years old, still wearing diapers, walking around his house, and there's a Rottweiler in the house. Dad says, "Go jump on Scooby." And he actually takes Scooby and flops him on his side and makes him lay down so that the little kid can sit on his neck and jump.
Oh my gosh.
On his neck, and the dog is literally gasping for air. And he's showing all of his signs, and the video's breaking down every little bit. 3 tongue flicks, a whale eye, another tongue flick, another whale eye, another tongue flick, a big yawn. A yawn is a stress reliever, and it literally goes through all of these video pieces, and the kid's jumping. The dad's telling him to keep doing it. It's all exciting. You're literally waiting for this dog to attack this kid.
Yeah.
Never happens, thankfully.
Yeah.
But imagine if it had happened.
Yeah, the damage that would have been done.
And it would have been the dog's fault, and the dog would have been put down. But who could have stopped that whole thing? The dad.
Yeah.
So this is the piece that I really need all mothers, fathers, big brothers and sisters, anybody listening to this. Learn dog body language if you're going to have a dog.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, if you want to contact me, I will gladly give you articles and videos and whatever you want. I want safe families. The reason why I'm so passionate about that is when I was 10 years old, I got bit by a dog in the face. I spent years terrified of dogs. It was my my stepsister's dog. They had Dalmatians. My favorite dog back then. Now I'm not terrified of them anymore because I've gotten over my fears, and I've kind of pushed myself to go past them and to learn about the breed and learn about why that happened and what I should have done in that instance. But I was 10 years old petting a dog, and I was sitting in their bedroom petting over the top of the dog's head, and his face was right here. And he just pinned me against the wall and bit my face because I was in the wrong. I should not have been there. I should not have been in that situation. They were breeding dogs. The female was in heat. The male was trying to procreate. And they had the female off in the corner, and they said, "You can pet him." And so I was petting him, and she was barking, and he had a child right in front of his face.
Yeah.
In his personal space.
Yeah.
All over him. I was all over that dog. I loved him.
Yeah.
Let's just say I'm passionate about making sure that children are safe.
Yeah.
Because I don't want anybody to experience what I experienced.
Yeah. Which is great too. And I mean, so we have a dog, and obviously we have a 2-year-old, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, we're going to be having another little addition within the next couple weeks. God help me, please. Like, let's do this already. But you know, we've had it. So I know a little bit about some of like the dog body language as well, because I do think that that's super important, especially when you have, you know, especially toddlers. They don't really quite understand.
Yep.
And she always gets mad at me because she'll be all up in our dog's personal space, hugging and kissing, and you know, and our dog is usually very good about it. But every once in a while, she's like, you know, I see the tongue, I see the whale eye, or even the yawn, and I'm like, all right, nope, we're not. You know,
Yeah, you
once
need to move.
Exactly, like, let's get off of her now. Let's give her space. She doesn't want to play.
Yep.
You know, she's tired. She wants a nap. Let's leave her alone. That kind of thing. And then, of course, my daughter always throws a tantrum and,
I want to spend time with the dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. That's too funny. So we are going to take a quick break here just to go over a quick word from our sponsors at AK Property Services. They are a mom and pop landscaping and hardscaping company. From yard cleanups to 3-season rooms, they can do it all. Currently servicing the seacoast of New Hampshire. You can find them over at www.akpropertyservice.com. And then we'll go right back into this. So kind of, you know, along the lines of, I guess, where our family is at. So we are expecting a baby. We already have a dog. And so we're doing some of the things that, you know, need to happen to get our dog ready for a baby. So if you were to talk to somebody who's having a baby pretty soon, they already have a dog in the house, what are some steps that they can take to help prepare their dog for a new, you know, little infant?
Well, first thing, if your dog's never been around children, is get them used to the sounds of children.
Mm-hmm.
Get them used to the smells of children. Baby powder, bring it in your house. There are apps on your phone that you can download that make all the baby sounds. Baby cries, baby screams, all the things that your dog's going to have to get used to with a child, because that can be a lot. Start bringing all of their new baby furniture out and turn the swings on. Play all the baby sounds, play all the noises that come out of those machines, because those can be scary to a dog. An object that moves without anybody touching it, a dog doesn't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand why that swing is moving. And for a dog that's terrified, they can attack a thing that doesn't make sense to them. So I would much rather them attack a swing without a child in it than attack a swing with a child in it. So let's get them used to all the things. Hopefully they don't attack anything.
Yeah.
But if it was going to happen, I would much rather happen way before the baby's born. So when you get all the the baby shower stuff, set it up. Set up the baby's room. Set up baby gates. Listen, baby gates are great. They're not just for kids.
Yeah.
They're for dogs too. The nursery should be a space for the dog to either lay still and visit or not be in there. My whole thought process for a dog and a baby, when you're about to bring them home, you want someone to give the dog the baby's hat and baby blanket from the hospital before they even arrive home. So if you have a mom or an aunt or someone who's visiting the hospital, give them your baby's stuff and have them bring it home to your dog. What that does is it introduces the new person in the home without your dog having to greet them. They can smell them from afar and know that that's what that is. I don't want any young child to be bitten, and I've said that a few times. So I've seen a few times where someone brings home their baby and the worst thing can happen because they don't introduce their dog to a new person. So what you want to do is bring home your baby's hat and your baby's towel, let your dog destroy it, lick on it, snuggle with it, whatever it wants to do. Absorb the smell. Get them used to all the baby sounds, all the machines, all the things that are going to be playing. set it up where it's a safe space for the dog to go when the baby's out. I like to teach a dog a place command. Go lay on your bed and have this bone while I'm over here snuggling the baby. You can come over and sniff its feet. You can come over and sniff its hand. But I'm not laying my baby on you. That's just too much.
Yeah.
Any parent that lays their baby on their dog and walks away, you're just asking for something to happen. Then anytime your dog is alone with something, they make choices. Sometimes it's good choices, sometimes it's bad choices. So you don't want to be that parent that says, it's okay for me to leave my dog alone with my baby because they'll watch them. But when a mother dog is alone with a litter of puppies, when they're done feeding, the mother walks away and the babies are left to their own accord. Do you really want a dog to get up, walk away, and leave your baby to its own accord? Because it's probably going to toss your baby on the floor by accident.
Yeah.
But above and beyond that, like, you don't want to leave it as I know I'm talking a whole lot of fear here, but you don't want to leave it as that one possible instance where something bad could happen. You want to monitor babies and dogs all the time. And if you can't monitor, maybe the dog should go in the other room and chew on a bone in a separate bedroom with a gate up. Or a crate. Crates are wonderful things. When babies are learning to crawl, what they tend to do is pull themselves up on a dog. They'll pull their ears, they'll pull their fur. Now, some people will say, start pulling the dog's tail and start pulling the fur to get them used to it. How about we just teach our children not to?
Yeah.
I have raised 2 children with lots of dogs. My youngest daughter that was premature, thankfully she's healthy. Thankfully she's now 6 years old and feisty as all get out. She's been raised in this life. She has been raised with a number of dogs. We have a new dog, I don't know, every 2 days in my house, every other day maybe. She's a better dog trainer than I am. I'm not exaggerating. When we bring a new dog in and they're nervous, she tells me exactly what's going on with their body. She tells me exactly what their face is saying.
Aww.
There was a new dog at my house on Friday, actually yesterday. And she walked in, dog was barking in the crate. She walked right up to the crate and said, Maddox, sit. And he was like, whoop. I was like, whoa, look at that. She goes, Maddox, down. And he just shut up.
Yeah.
It was great. She's a fantastic dog trainer. She's
Wow.
She just turned 6 years old just the other day. To have a kid understand dog body language from day one. I mean, we pointed it out, everything. And I've been realistic with my children. You know, obviously I'm not going to tell a 2-year-old that they're going to get bitten if they touch a dog in the wrong way. But I'll say things, obviously age appropriate. To a young child, no, honey, sorry, the doggy's not going to like that. They're not going to be very happy with you if you do that. If you hear a dog growl, it's a request for space. That does not mean they're aggressive. Dogs are asking for you to leave them alone. So you have to teach a child a growl isn't the end of the world, but you have to listen to them. When a dog says, leave me alone, they legit mean, leave me alone.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean let your child crawl up on them. Not bite, but pull up on them and grab their ears. I mean, I've even seen kids bite dogs. That's a whole other story. But the issue that I see most is parents not teaching their children what to do with dogs. They just let them go for a free-for-all. My children, if they see a dog out in public, they stand 10 feet away and they say, hi, nice to meet you, to the person. Would it be okay for me to come over and say hi to your dog? I get praised nonstop for just my children's respect. Hey, thank you so much for having your kids ask.
Yeah.
It's the nicest thing that you can do. Just someone walking up and saying, hey, is it okay if my child pets your dog? See, it's amazing to know that you don't have to, like, shield your dog because there's a child sprinting at you.
Right.
And I've seen some things. I've been out on rail trails and kids come flying at your dog and they're not nice about it.
Yeah.
So whether you have a dog or not, it's your responsibility to teach your children how to behave around other things. And that's a major piece when you're bringing a baby home, is you have to teach that baby from day one how to behave with the dog. So one of the things that you can do right off the bat is when the baby's old enough to either stand on its own or grab things on its own, you start teaching the baby to gently pet the dog. And if they grab hold of the fur, you say, ouch, no, ouch. And then you teach them how to pet the fur in a long stroking manner. You want them to gently pet the dog, no closed fists.
Yeah.
Teach them when they're starting to crawl and walk, not to go on the dog's bed. If the dog is on the bed quietly, by themselves, you don't want the child to go over and lay on the bed. That's rude.
Yeah.
That's their personal space. That's their space. That's their safe area. I've seen pictures and videos of people allowing their kids to go in their dog's crate. Like, I'm sorry, that's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. If the dog finds that space safe, they're going there because they want to be left alone. They want space from the other things. So learn respect for the dog. And I think a lot of people have this thought process of the dog's just going to deal with anything that we throw at them. Well, think of it this way. You are a foreign exchange student in France. Do you speak French?
I personally don't, but I would hope that if you're over in France, you would learn it.
But if you don't,
yeah,
you're a foreign exchange student, you're in a new country, even if you're just...
It'll take time.
Even if you're just visiting, you go into this other country, but they have all these weird things that they do. Like Italians, they love to kiss you cheek to cheek.
Yeah.
That's just a well-known fact. And if you're a person that doesn't like people in your face, it might not be the place to visit.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to expect the dog to be able to deal with certain things. Like, they're going to have to deal with people in their space. They're going to have to deal with people touching their fur. But above and beyond that, really, people, children, other dogs shouldn't be long-term bothering a dog. They can handle a few seconds. They can handle a minute, 2 minutes of overbearing pressure. But above and beyond that, it's too much.
Yeah.
So helping yourself to learn what a dog can withstand, what they should be able to withstand, and what they really shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
And then learning the language, learning what the culture is. I mean, if you're going to another country and you're not learning what the culture is, you're pretty dumb.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So if you're bringing... I pretend like the dog's a foreign exchange student. You're bringing this foreign exchange student into your house. You have to learn their language. They have to learn your language. You have to learn what commonalities you have. So dogs have to learn what's acceptable to humans. I mean, puppies bite hard. Humans don't like that.
Yeah.
So puppies have to learn that biting's not okay. And humans love to kiss and hug.
Yeah.
And a lot of dogs don't like kissing and hugging.
Yeah.
So there's your language barrier right there.
Yeah.
Biting is normal to a dog. Kissing and hugging is normal to a human. That doesn't cross over.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to be respectful to each other. If you can learn how to be respectful to a dog, and a dog can learn how to be respectful to you, you can have a beautiful life together.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what breed that is. You know dog.
Yeah.
I have yet to meet a breed where I didn't understand them. Because I understand dog. So across the board, I mean, when it comes to families and dogs, I don't think it's necessarily a breed that makes the most sense for families or a breed that doesn't make the most sense for families. If you can match their lifestyle and you can understand their language and they can understand your language, you can have any breed you want. But you have to match their lifestyle.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And, I like that we're kind of, I guess, going back to some of the breed stuff, because I think that is important. And I think that when, people are choosing pets for their families, that's often the kind of route that they go, is what breed should we go with. versus what do we need to do to prepare ourselves for getting a new dog. And, we pretty much just touched on all of this, but I was also going to ask if you have a family with small children, and they're looking at getting a dog, what are some of the steps that they can take? So obviously learning like body language and, all those types of things. Is there anything else that you would recommend for a family that's looking at getting a dog?
Yeah. Go to the shelter.
Yeah.
Visit a lot of dogs. Visit a lot. You'll get to learn what types of dogs are great and what types of dogs are not great. And it's not going to be about a breed because they're all mutts. I shouldn't say all. Most dogs you see at a shelter are mutts. It's pretty rare for you to find a pure breed at a shelter. Even pit bulls are a mutt. It's an umbrella breed. It's a group of breeds within an umbrella. Staffordshire Terrier is a breed, but people don't recognize that. They see pit bull.
Yeah.
But go into the shelters. Try out 50 different dogs. Go to 5 different shelters. Meet the dogs. See what your child is like with these dogs. See what the dogs are like with your child. See what you like and see what you don't like. I kind of equate it to like dating. Do you want to take every guy home and marry them that you dated?
No.
No.
Nope.
Just like finding a dog. I mean,
glad I settled with my husband. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think back on the dating scene back when I was in my 20s, like, if I had taken some of those guys home and married them, my life would be miserable. Absolutely miserable. I like a fresh and feisty relationship, both with husband, children, and dogs. Like, I love a feisty dog. I just love them. It's fun it's fun to have the play. It's fun to have the energy. It's fun to, like, be sarcastic with them, be silly with them. I'm not much into the stoic dogs. Some people really like stoic dogs. Poodles are beautiful, but they're too stoic for me.
Yeah.
Some people really like the aloof dogs that just lay on your couch, and that's great for that family. But it's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm not that type of person. I've had beagles. I've had we had a Yorkshire Terrier West Highlander mix. That was not my dog. We've had a lot of Brittany Spaniel. We've had a lot of breeds, but go into shelters and learn about the different dogs. Meet them, experience different things. Have your friends with dogs introduce their dog the way that the dog likes so that the child can learn ways that the dog feels comfortable. Go into shelters and ask the shelter workers what types of things your child should be doing with the dogs. You can learn a ridiculous amount from those people. They see probably 30 different dogs in a week. Because when they adopt them out, they get 30 new dogs in. So they have to learn all 30 of those personalities, and they're only there for 2 or 3 weeks. If it's a good shelter. And if it's a good dog, they're only there for 2 or 3 weeks. They go through quarantine, and then boom, they're out the door. Puppies, a week and a half. They're not in the shelter long.
Yeah.
So go online, take the AKC test. See if there's a group of breeds that fits your lifestyle better. You have to understand what your lifestyle is. If you can find something that fits your lifestyle, a type of breed that fits your lifestyle, I honestly think there's very little that you have to do to prepare your family. I think preparing your children is definitely important. Getting yourself ready for a dog can be really easy. It's not a whole lot of investment. It's more investment in learning. Research your breeds. Make sure that you understand what you're getting. If you're going to get a herding breed, you should probably have some farmland.
Yeah. And some farm animals.
Yeah, and some farm animals to herd. If you're going to get a breed like a Belgian Malinois, you better have an exercise plan. You better have some sort of plan for them to bite appropriately. If you're going to get a dog like a pit bull, you better have a plan to play tug with them at least once a day. Maybe even buy a treadmill to let them run on. If you're going to have a dog like a husky, you better get yourself equipped with a bicycle and a harness, and you better teach them how to mush. So if you understand what you're getting and you prepare for what that dog needs, there's not really a lot that you really need to do. But for the kids themselves, just give them experience, a lot of experience. Don't just go into it saying, "Oh, we're gonna get a dog," and the kids only met your grandmother's dog, and the dog doesn't want to have anything to do with kids.
Yeah.
Like, the kid needs experience with dogs to know how they're going to be. Some shelters will do a sort of like a rent-to-own type of thing, like an adopt-to-own, or not a foster-to-adopt, there we go, where they let you foster the dog for a couple months. That'd be another amazing opportunity for you to figure out whether or not a breed or a group of breeds is good for you. Foster for a month. Foster different dogs. See how your kid is with that dog. Sorry to say, your kid's probably going to struggle with a couple of different dogs, and it's going to be a learning experience. But I can tell you that it'll be good, because you know that dog is going to be going to a good home within a couple of weeks or months. And if that one didn't fit your household, they move on.
Yeah.
So fostering can be another great experience. But honestly, experience, lots and lots of experience. Watch dog training videos. YouTube is a wonderful place. There's so many things. Learn about dog body language. Like, really learn it.
Yeah.
And then go to a dog park and sit outside of a dog park and watch them. And see what you can pick out. If you have a Saturday afternoon and it's beautiful outside, go sit outside of a dog park for 15 minutes and just watch the dogs play and see what they say to each other. You can learn a lot from dogs just by watching. Crazy.
That's some great pointers, actually. I mean, there were some things like the fostering that I hadn't even considered. That's a great point. I mean, if you don't really know what kind of a lifestyle you live, because some people are not super in tune to the kind of lifestyle they have, that's a great way to sit there and kind of weed out some of these other breeds. You sit there and say, oh, well, we're athletic, but you only go hiking once a week. You're not gonna what some of those hyper breeds are not gonna do with that. So that's a great suggestion. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, the other side of it is you're getting to experience different. I mean, if you're not a hiker, you're not going to get a dog that you want to run for 6 miles a day. I mean, you're going to want to get something that's softer. But the other side of it is some people have never had puppies. And they go, yay, let's get an 8-week-old puppy because, yay, we're going to raise them and they're going to be amazing. Can I tell you it's like having a toddler? Yeah. Or a newborn baby? You're up every 2 hours. You are bringing them outside every 2 hours, sometimes 1 hour. You're doing that through the night. You're waking up every 2 hours, whether you like it or not. Yeah. It takes months to potty train a dog. Some dogs it takes longer if you don't do it right. Biting all of your clothes, your furniture, your shoes, everything, your hair, sweatshirt, strings. Some people just don't do well with puppies, and they get a puppy expecting it to be the best thing in the world because my kids are going to raise it. Nope. Don't buy a dog and expect your child to be the one to raise it. Yeah. I don't care how old your kid is. Don't do it. Even if they're 18, not going to do it. Yeah. They're not going to. They're going to help with certain aspects, but they're not going to be the ones to raise it. It's not their dog. It's not their responsibility. You buy a dog, it's your responsibility. Yeah. I want all parents to understand that because I have heard so many times. I have a bunch of clients where their kids are the main responsibility, and I've had to tell them, listen, sorry to tell you, your child is not capable cognition-wise to understand how to care for themselves and care for another living being. Yeah. Sorry, just not capable. Yeah. So, foster a puppy. Let me tell you how much you'll learn about dogs. Yeah. And you'll learn what your limit is. Yeah. And you might then want to adopt a 4-month-old puppy.
Yeah.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Between 4 and 6-month-old puppies are great.
Yeah.
It's a great age.
That's too funny. Yeah, when we got our dog, we actually adopted her from a rescue down in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And she was shipped up to us.
Yep.
And she's an absolutely amazing dog, which was good because we were really nervous about getting a dog that we had never met before.
Yep.
You know, but it was kind of a similar thing. So like they ship the dog up, you basically get 2 weeks with this dog, and then if for whatever reason you say I don't want this dog, they'll pay to have him shipped back down.
Yeah.
So it was you know, like
sort of a foster to adopt.
Yeah, sort of. But it was great. You know, we got her, and you know she's an awesome dog. But it's like when we were looking at what kind of dog to get, you know, both me and my husband, you know, worked at the time. We didn't have any kids, but we both worked full time. And I was like, well, we're not getting a puppy, like as cute as they are, because that's a whole big responsibility and we're not really going to be here, you know, to be able to properly do that. And even getting a dog was, you know, kind of borderline. Should we not? Because we're not really around as much as I'd like to be when you get a dog. But certain circumstances led us to the point where, you know, that we had a need that needed to be filled, and that was going to be filled with the dog. And so, you know, but yeah, she was a year old when we got her, and that ended up working out perfectly because we got her, she was already potty trained, you know.
That's magic.
I know. She was already potty trained. She already knew like basic commands.
Oh.
You know,
better.
I mean, she knew generally how to behave, you know, like she did have some separation anxiety that we had to work through, which was horrible because we were in an apartment building and, you know, neighbors were complaining and we both worked full time and it's like, what are we going to do? But we worked through it and she's, significantly better now, you know, but yeah, it's just, that whole age thing, I just think that's so funny when people are like, oh, we'll get a puppy. And I'm like, just get a year-old dog. Like, they're still young. They still grow with the family, but you skip all the, you know,
the chaos
stuff. Yeah.
And the not sleeping.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love puppies. I think they are the best things ever, but
yeah,
I hate raising them.
Yeah.
I do. I hate raising them. And when somebody brings a puppy to my house for training, I'll take board and train dogs where they drop them off in my house for 2 weeks. I will take day training dogs where they drop the dog off during the day. Puppies are a lot of work.
Yeah.
They're a lot of work. It's a 24-hour job.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about a family who's never had a puppy and they've got a child on the way, don't do it.
Yeah.
Worst decision you're going to make.
Yeah.
I hear people say all the time, oh, well, we're already going to be up because of the child.
Oh, my gosh.
You are making twice the work for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I know. I'm just thinking about, like, that newborn life, and it's like you're already exhausted enough. You're already trying to, every second you get, try to get a little bit more sleep.
Yeah.
Why would you take away some of those seconds to have another baby that you have to take care of?
That barks and whines and screams and pees on things.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, puppies pee a lot and poop a lot. And
Yeah.
Don't get a puppy if you aren't ready for it.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to do now is I'm going to talk about Kaja Weglars real quick, and then we'll kind of, I guess, close out the show.
Sure.
So Kaja Weglars is a clinical hypnotherapist, and she offers personalized hypnotherapy programs designed specifically for you with your unique goals in mind. They release low vibration emotions from the past, overcome childhood traumas, and create a life you love. You can become a better mom, wife, and individual, and find your inner bliss through true self-love. Leave the past behind, overcome negative self-talk and unwanted habits, and become empowered. You can reach her at www.facebook.com/Kaja Weglars Hypnotherapy. That's spelled KASIAWEGLARZ Hypnotherapy. Or you can call 603-254-6716. The cool thing about hypnotherapy is it's kind of like, you know, even can help you be a better dog mom, I think. So this is the end of our show. I do want to mention a couple things. We have a VIP group on Facebook where you can access extra content with the Q&A section of each video. If you wanted to hear a little bit more from Jocelyn, you can go ahead and join that by going to our Patreon account. They also have a mother's mentorship program through that Facebook group. There's early access to all of the shows, a promo code for free shipping from our merchandise website, and you get notified a week prior to each show being filmed so that you can contribute questions that may be picked up for the Q&A segment. It's a great program, only for $8 every single month from Patreon, and you can sign up for that at patreon.com/mothersilluminated. This show can also be found on podcast.mothersilluminated.com, as well as our YouTube channel at Mothers Illuminated. If you're interested in being a part of the show, reach out to us at mothersilluminated@gmail.com. And you can also find related merchandise at Teespring, which is teespring.com/stores/mothers-illuminated. I think we got everything taken care of for today. So Jocelyn, it's been great having you here on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking time out of your life to do this, especially with 2 kids, 7 days a week, business, craziness, homeschooling.
Pure chaos.
Thank you.
My pleasure. It was fun.